crisis management. Did you feel like that you got a fair amount of preparation for that as an agent prior to you becoming a GM?
No. The public pressure of running a team is much different than an agent, because an agent's responsible to, when I was working with you cared what I did or said about you, but nobody else, not the community of my responses. But when you are a spokesman for a team, it's really myself, the ownership, and the coach are the people that would talk when there's an internal issue. But we had people think, I think, the dynasty, whatever it's never clean. It's never easy. It's never perfect. There's all kinds of bumps in the road on that stuff. And the better your team is, and having a guy like Curry, and then even when Kevin came, the scrutiny around your team. When I took the job with the Warriors, my wife said, is there going to be media? And I said, no, it's like 2 beat writers. I said that.
Seriously?
There was 2. I go, and I knew one of them wrote for the Contra Costa Times, and one of them wrote for the Chronicle, the newspapers. So no internet, no embedded reporters. That was it, and nobody cared. It was one of the worst bottom 5 franchises in the NBA by far, perennially. So I said, nobody cared. No media.
Why did you take the job?
All upside.
All upside.
No, we could get into why I took the job. So I did not imagine. I thought I was hired. I was going to drive like an old VW bus, but the job in the end turned into trying to drive a Ferrari. It's just it became different, right? And so crisis management became a huge thing because of the attention on the team, and anything, and anytime you're on a team, things are going to happen. Things are going to be said in the heat of competition. Things are going to be done that aren't the best versions of someone. I know you're going to segue into, and so you deal with that. And was I prepared? No.
Told you to be easy on you.
I know
I'm not a
no.
fucking journalist, bro. I'm actually trying to get information here.
What are you trying to do? No, I wasn't prepared. Nobody is. What? Prepared? Because every crisis is a different crisis. I suppose what you learn is you do not lie. You do your best to communicate in your team, protect your team, but also understand that there's a public component of this stuff. It's community. You owe them some kind of response. And there is no perfect response to a crisis. There is not one. The best response I've ever seen is an apology, because people will accept a real apology, an honest apology, not an apology like this. I apologize for a real look in the eye. I effed up and I'm sorry. We can take that. Can't do that 7 times, but you can do that. And so crises are only more pronounced because there's such a vitriol now, I think, on social media, where there's a lot. When there's a misstep in an organization, it's coming down your road in a very kind of hard way sometimes.
Did you ever find out who leaked the tape?
No.
You never found out?
Nope. I think the best I can answer that is we did not think that we couldn't pinpoint anybody. It wasn't like we found someone and we we looked. We tried a third party. We couldn't.
I think what's interesting about your job that I find fascinating, which I think it's only gotten harder, is there are people who love basketball, who are incredibly intelligent, who have this like dream of like, I want to be a part of the NBA and I want to get into a front office and someday I want to be a GM. And truthfully, I think there's players that say, I want to go be a GM. And the perception is I got to manage the salary cap. I got to make trades. I got to sign free agents. I got to draft players. And that's the job.
That's called fantasy basketball.
Give me a percentage here.
You can do that on your computer at home.
Is that half the job? Is that a quarter of the job?
That's the assistant GM's job.
Because you and I have talked enough about this that it feels like I wrote some things down. It's crisis management. It's people management, relationship management, conflict resolution. It's, I think, potentially hard decisions, like deciding who to draft at number 9 or whatever. That's a decision, and it's an important one.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean by hard decisions?
Yes, I understand.
It seems like there's so much more that goes into it. That, to me, would be the most stressful and taxing part.
Well, the hard decisions, the best thing I did, or we did when I was there, was we kept it together. And they're still keeping it together, because how hard that is. You can have a year or two, and you had really good teams you were on. You did personally, but you couldn't keep it together. Not you. It couldn't stay together. So I was so focused on, when you saw something great, to not let it break apart. That's in a very simple answer. How do we protect this to get to a championship? But you understand how hard it is to protect that. How many people want to rip that thing down internally, externally, egos, money, credit, blame, all kinds of stuff. Everything is eating away at that integrity, that sanctity of a team. So all I tried to do was protect that. What that meant for me was, how do I make JJ Redick feel like he wants to be here and feel a part of this and understand that this is something special? And even though this teammate told you to go fuck yourself yesterday, he's still not a bad guy. And he just wants to win like you. That's in every, I say this to somebody, you know what a GM for me was, doesn't have to be for you. It's a bonsai tree that you cut and snip every day, a tiny little fucking leaf. That was today's job. Tomorrow I got to cut 3 leaves. It is not a cactus. You don't just stare at it and come in and water it at the draft and water it at the trade deadline and water it in free agency. Every single day on that job is a snip here and a snip there. And if you don't do it, that bonsai tree gets ugly fast and dies. And so for me, it wasn't one thing. It was every little thing, because as you know, 5 little things untended become a big thing. And in the NBA now, when a big thing comes up, it's public. And when it gets public, it's hard for sometimes things to get reconciled. So I was always looking at it like, what is today? What is the job today? And some days are different jobs, but it's always protecting that. And that's the part that I think, if you said, I want to be a GM, I want to trade, but come on, that ain't the job. Like, that is the job, but that is not the, that's a chunk of it, but that's not it. That isn't the whole thing. Sam Presti said something smart. When I took the job, I called Sam Presti. I said, give me some advice. He said, the title general manager, look at the word manager. Manager. That's what you're doing. You're managing people. And that was about 15 years ago. I remember that.
It's interesting because I think most people would say you're managing an organization or you're managing a franchise. But you looked at it a little more granular. Sam obviously looks at it a little more granular. You're managing people. And that's the right way to look at it.
Yeah, because you knew as a player when you were just a player, number whatever, or you were JJ, right? You know, I had a player come into me one time and said, I need to know if you're going to trade me or not. It wasn't Steph Curry, because then I would have said no. But look, everybody else, this player wasn't. He said, I need to know. I said, do you? He said, yeah. I said, so here's the thing. All the players say they want to know. Don't lie to me. Okay. You walk in my office. Bob, you going to trade me? All right. Before I answer that, JJ, you okay with whatever answer I give you? Can you handle that? And there's can you handle the truth? Okay. What if I say maybe? Maybe. What are you going to do with that? I said, because JJ, I can understand you being pissed at that, because if anybody walked into their boss tomorrow and whatever you do, you're going to fire me? And the boss goes, maybe? I mean, what the fuck are you supposed to do with that? Right? So all the players, I want the truth. Okay. Bob, you going to trade me at this trade deadline? I got some stuff, JJ, in the works. Don't know if it's going to happen. Got to see if it works. What else do you want to know? I got a first for you, maybe. I'm not sure you're worth it. I don't know. Like, I'm going to see what I get back. No way you can, no chance. You're a human being. You can't handle that. So I said to this guy, I said, here's my answer. I said, and I'm going to do this. You asked the question. Here's the answer. I don't know. And I'm not doing that to protect you. I'm doing that to protect me because you're not worth me lying for.
Man.
You're not worth me lying for going to bed at night. That's what I said. I said, not because I'm going to not lie. I'm not lying for me. So I go to bed at night and go, I didn't lie. Don't call me a liar. So that's a fascinating thing where the players go, I think NBA players what the joy NBA players, Warriors players gave me, I will never forget. The joy competing against some of the best players, I love basketball, watching it. I am forever indebted to all NBA players. But when the players say, I want to know the truth, I go, okay, do you? Do you? Because you said publicly, you had some stuff where you said you should have told me, but I don't know, right? Maybe it's the way you do it. I don't know. Because I don't know if you want to go down that road.
I don't want to go down the road. I would say this. I was the type of person where if you just told me,
you'd be all right. But you may be unique.
Yeah, I'd be fine.
I think you'd be unique in that.
I would rather live with a certainty that it's that it could happen.
You'd rather have
versus the certainty that you told me it's not going to happen.
Right, that's different.
Yeah, and then you do it.
Yeah,
right. There was somebody I got some podcast or something told a story this week, and it kind of blew up about getting traded and being lied to. And I think the general response to it was very favorable. I think to what you're talking about, which is essentially like I don't get why lying is worth it.
It's not.
So you're going to piss off a player for a couple months? Like I actually don't think most NBA players. I actually don't think most NBA players. They may be mad for a week or two, but if you're smart enough and you're emotionally mature enough that you could express it in a way that you're like, look, dude, we've got Steph Curry.
Yeah, Steph
is not getting traded.
Yeah, right.
It's my job. It's my job to build the best team possible around him. It's why I brought you here. It's why I drafted you. It's why I traded for you. But guess what? I still have to build a team around him that's better.
Yes. And I think that's true.
And I think if you said that to a player, they'd be like,
I think
okay,
NBA players can handle more than GMs give them credit for. I do think that.
Yeah.
I do think that. But here's the thing. When players ask that question, I want to know if I'm being traded. Sometimes I was like, then you better be ready for any answer you get. Because if that's what you're coming with, because have some self-awareness to go, if I can't handle a maybe I shouldn't ask. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Like if you come to the door with,
that's fair.
I want to know if I'm being traded, then,